So in this second video, I pick up where I left off at the end of the first. The United Nations Charter agreed at the end of World War II to limit the circumstances in which the use of force can be seen as legal and legitimate. And let's just have a glimpse at some of the items of the UN Charter on the screen there, the famous ones. Article 2, all members shall settle their international disputes by peaceful means, in such a manner that international peace and security and justice are not endangered, and all members shall refrain in their international relations from the threat or use of force, etc. The UN's role expanded over time, of course, to have these what are called collective security mechanisms. You can see from the picture they are often interpreted idiosyncratically on the ground, but the cornerstones of those are supposed to be peacemaking, peacekeeping and peace building. Peacemaking means assisting parties to conflict to reach agreement. Peacekeeping, there in the traditional sense, means deploying blue helmeted troops to ensure the ceasefire holds. And peace building, the more recent innovation, is in recognition of some of the concepts that we've been looking at, that actually outright hostilities should be seen as a symptom. And the causes of those symptoms should also be tackled, institution building, addressing issues of structural violence and so forth. So the UN's role has expanded to that over time. But now what we see is what I would say is a clustering of challenges to this post-World War II consensus. Challenges in particular on the circumstances in which force could be used. The illustration there is the cover of the report on the responsibility to protect. Now, the responsibility to protect is a report drawn up by ISIS, not that one. This is the International Commission on Intervention and State Sovereignty, convened by the Canadian and British governments, really in the aftermath of episodes like the breakup of Yugoslavia, and some of the traumas such as the massacre at Srebrenica, and also the Rwandan genocide, to try to codify circumstances in which military action could be used, not to restore international peace and security, but to actually now delve into matters taking place within the borders of a nation state. So what it says specifically, and this is the essential principle, is that if a state is unwilling or unable to carry out its responsibility to prevent serious human rights abuses, and that means of its own people, then its responsibility must be transferred to the international community. Now, in the reading that I posted for this week, I discuss what is really the purest case of R2P in application in that sense of the use of force. It should be emphasised that the responsibility to protect in this report, and indeed in the form in which it was then adopted by the United Nations, does include lots of other elements. It includes lots of provisions for working with governments and through regional organisations to try to forestall and prevent large-scale human rights abuses, but it does contain that possibility of deploying force against the wishes of the government of that country in order to discharge this responsibility. And the purest case really of that came with UN Security Council Resolution 1973 on Libya. And as many of you will probably recall, it provided for the use of all necessary means, which is UN code for force, and that was devolved to NATO to impose a no-fly zone. But it also called for an immediate ceasefire on all sides and for inclusive talks on a political settlement. Both of those kind of went for a Burton for reasons I discuss in the paper. So that's one of these important challenges to the very restricted set of circumstances bequeathed in the post-World War II settlement as to when the use of force could be legal. The other one is the so-called war on terrorism. And I talk more about the war on terrorism as a challenge to this consensus in the next video.